Hey guys, welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time here, which it very well might be since I'm fairly new to doing this. This is a pretty new YouTube channel, so welcome. I'm Karen. I'm a homeschool mom of only one child, a 10-year-old girl named Peyton, and I'm also a work-at-home mom, or I have been most of the time. Currently, right now, I'm in between businesses. I work also with my husband, who works from home in real estate. He's creating a real estate course right now, but in the past we have been investing in real estate, and we had rental properties and sorts of things, which we don't right now. Thank you 2008 crash. Still climbing out of that hole. But anyway, so we're creating a course together to launch on teaching you how to invest in foreclosed properties. So I help him with that, and I do the homeschool thing, and we work together on keeping our home. So it's a good teamwork thing. So that's who I am, and a little blurb of who we are. I wanted to talk to you today, again from my car, about kind of how I figured out the vision that I want for our homeschool, or how I want it to feel, is how I look at that. I review that each fall. This is the start of our third year, so I'm still fairly new to this fully, but you figure out a little more each year, and then when they, threw COVID mess in there that, put a wrinkle in things quite a bit. But that's the blessing of doing homeschool. You can go with the flow and you can change things up. And I was so glad that we had started homeschooling and made the decision to pull her out of school, gosh, just a few months before all that started. So that was definitely a blessing. It made me sure that we made the right decision for that reason, if nothing else. But I wanted to share with you an article that I found at the beginning of the summer, and it really guided me as to what I want our summers to feel like, but it also reminds me of how I want our home and our homeschool to feel like. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and it was a different time for sure. We ran around and played all day, and you'd come home for lunch, and you'd come home at dinner time or at dark, and there definitely was not, the helicopter parenting was not happening, maybe to an extreme. We'll fully admit somewhere in the middle is probably a good compromise between the 70s parenting and today's parenting. So I love the neighborhood we're in now that we just moved to in April. Is awesome. Peyton has younger friends on one side and older friends on the other side, and the 3 yards, they just run back and forth and play, and the ages range from 4 to 13, and they just all play well together and hop back and forth. Trampoline, pool, Roblox, there's a lot more of that happening now that Peyton's 10. But it's really, it reminds me of how I grew up, and they'll bike around the neighborhood. The slight difference is she always has to come and ask, can I bike around the neighborhood with, Sophie and Nicholas? And can I, go next door and swim with Scarlett and Clara, and those kind of things. So there's always a touching base of where are you? Which when I was young, I don't think we even did that. So that's a little different. Get a drink. Apologize if I sound stuffy. Allergies are no joke. They're really bad today. I actually thought maybe I was sick, but nope, it's allergies. Oh, the joy. And it's hotter than a biscuit here today. It's like, it says 86 now. I know it's gonna go to 90, and my air conditioning is not working very well, so let's speed this along. So I'm gonna read this to you. Oh, it's from the Magnolia Journal. I don't know if you get that magazine or not. I only get that magazine, and once in a while, like a Better Homes and Gardens quick flip through kind of thing to get some inspiration for my home. And I just started gardening this year, so really those are the only two magazines I've been getting, because I don't have the extra time, and it overwhelms me if there's a pile of magazines sitting there. I have to get to the magazines. I don't need that kind of stress. So Magnolia Journal, I love. It's the only magazine I've ever had where I literally read it from cover to cover and don't just look at the pretty pictures. I love Chip and Joanna and their their shows, and they're just very inspiring to me. So this article is from the summer of 2019. I liked it so much that I ordered the back issues. This is called "To Be Free, Just Like When We Were Kids." When we were kids, summer was the most beautiful word in the English language. 2 holy syllables brimming with warmth, with anticipation, with possibility. Summer brought together the very best of what life had to offer. Summer was an open door, an unwritten story. Summers were sacred. When we were kids, summer meant freedom. It gave us the space to be who we truly were, a tribe of tree climbing, high diving, scabby-kneed kids. Summer was our reward for sitting relatively still for 9 months. It was our chance to roam the town, explore the woods, and shock the neighborhood with misguided water balloons. Summer was our natural habitat, our birthright, and it was the duty of our youth to make the most of it. So we drank in all the freedom that we could. We soaked it up. We basked in every second of daylight. And when it got dark, we begged our parents to let us stay out just a little longer. Then we were back out through the screen door, off to chase our friends through the violet dusk, to grasp at summer skies and trap a bit of starlight in borrowed glass jars. Many of the details from those freewheeling summer days now blur together, the sharp edges of memory worn smooth over time. But the essential elements remain. Those summers smelled like sunscreen and chlorine. They tasted like watermelon, ice cold just out of the fridge, cut into wedges the size of Volkswagens. Like wild strawberries, like an armload of wild cherries, eaten one by one, till you felt sick as a dog. And the sound of summer? Well, it sounded like music through a window, soul songs and sweet songs and bare feet in the street songs. Summer sounded like the tides, like cicadas? Is that how you pronounce that? Like cicadas in the trees, like the pop and hiss of Roman candles slicing through the dark, like explosions of laughter. Those summers sounded like a symphony of bells, bicycle bells and ice cream bells and come in for dinner bells, but never ever school bells. Summer taught us about the passing nature of all things and the irretrievability of lost time. We looked forward to it all year long, and then, before we knew it, it was over. Maybe it was summer that first helped us to learn, practically, that freedom, like time, is precious, that it is both a gift and a privilege. We get to learn this lesson year after year, young until old. For about 90 days a year, we are all given this same gift of summer, one that brings longer days, warmer seas, an abundance of fruits, and a chance to step back from our busy lives, to slow down a bit, to try something new, to go outside and run through a sprinkler with our clothes on, to be free, just like when we were kids, and just as we can be now. Isn't that awesome? I just love that. I'm going to keep that to inspire me, especially every summer. This summer was the first one where I thought of doing a few school things in the summer, and we did just a little bit. We have our what is that poetry book everybody has? Sing a Song of Seasons. We started that January 1st, and during the school year we read it every day. It's short. It doesn't take long at all, so don't be overwhelmed by that. And then in the summer we've been reading about once a week. We'll just read the whole week's worth, and it doesn't even take very long either. So we've been doing that, and I wanted her to do math just like twice a week for her teaching textbooks. That ain't happening. I was trying to push it, and she was really fighting it. And then I read that article again, and I thought, you know what? I do not have to stay on anybody else's schedule. It does not matter when she finishes this math at all. She does awesome during the school year. She's not behind. She's actually ahead on things, according to the yearly testing we have to take. So I am just going to let her enjoy her summer and her freedom, and I'm going to enjoy it as well. So all we did was once a week we read our poems, which was enjoyable. Our whole family listened, and we did a little bit of musical multiplication from the good and the beautiful, about once a week, if that, maybe once every 2 weeks even. So we're only through the second book of that, which is fine. It was kind of entertaining. At first she rolled her eyes at it and didn't want to do it, but then the songs started to stick in our heads and we would just randomly start singing, 3 times 3 is 9 throughout the summer, and it does work. I do like it, by the way. I would recommend that. I wish they had something like that for all of the math facts. So that's something that this year now we really need to give some time to during school. Because I keep telling her, if you take the time now to memorize these things, it'll make the rest of math so much easier. And once it's in there, it'll pretty much stay, and you won't ever have to do it again. Trying to encourage her with get it done and be done with it philosophy. So I just thought I would share that as what I use as a guide for our summers, as of right now anyway. Like I said, all of her friends are in public school and charter schools, and so we're doing a similar schedule to them. I even print their schedules off from the different schools, and I somewhat match their days off and holidays and summers, and that's what works for us right now. I know a lot of people switch to more of a year-round schedule, or some people take June and July off and start the beginning of August, then maybe they take all of December off. We do a light Christmas school schedule in December as well, but our state doesn't have a minimum number of days or weeks, or you don't have to take attendance, nothing like that. So we have even more freedom. So for me, as long as we do what I feel is enough and we cover enough, whatever that means for us, that's good in my book. So how our family and our home feels and is how we feel while doing school and learning. I just talk about learning more than school even is what matters to me. I want her to grow a love of learning, to have a curiosity, to want to find out the answers to things, to want to dig into things that interest her. I want her to love reading, which she always has. We've been reading to her every night since she was a baby. Every night. We still do when she's 10. And she loves that. We love our bedtime ritual. And we're starting now to have her read to herself a little bit first, or at least I do. My husband still just does most of the reading when it's his turn. We're trying to do every other night now. It was mostly me, and then he would sprinkle in nights here and there, but now we're doing every other. And so we've always read a lot to her. She always had to have a giant bag of books in the car anywhere we went. It could be a 10-minute car ride. She'd have to have her books with, or she'd sit on her little mini kid couch with a huge stack of books taller than her before she could even read, and she would open them. I have the cutest pictures. If I could find one, I'll insert it. And she would go through, and some of the stories she would just say from memory because we've read them all so many times, and some of them she would just go by the pictures and make up her own story. And that was the beginnings of her learning to read. And so we go to the library all the time, or we used to more when she was younger and before COVID. And bookstores, she loves going to Barnes & Noble and going up on the little stage they have there. So that, as she has gotten a little older now, is being pushed aside by screens and Roblox and YouTube, which I know I have control over. But I have the philosophy that I'm trying to guide her to make good decisions and not so much rule over her. This is a little point of contention in our family that we have different philosophies, but it's working. It's not a huge deal, and she's a great kid and not worried about it. I just need to have her learn, which she is. She's paying attention to screen time because she sees now her friends wanting to do more of that and less, like they don't go in her playroom really anymore, hardly at all, which is really sad, but I understand. She's 10. I have a preteen. Where does the time go? But it's good. She is still very much a kid, not in a hurry to grow up, and she actually was crying to me the other night that she doesn't want to grow up. She wants to stay a kid, and she's wasting too much time on screens and can't ever get that time back. So I thought, whoa, I need to scale back and change how I am talking about that with her, because I do not want to pile guilt on her. at all. And I think she's sensitive to that and to my emotions and what I think. And if I was explaining to her, I'm actually I'm mad at myself for getting her too used to screens, because Mama needed to sleep. She's never been a good sleeper, and I would have her just watch a cartoon on my phone so I could sleep a little in the morning. And then that turned into YouTube, and then now she watches YouTube every morning. And then this is a video topic for another day. We very highly regulate what she is watching and what she plays on Roblox. Deleted TikTok, because that is horrible for children, in my opinion. Don't get me started on that one. Many other security reasons to watch the apps you have too, especially TikTok. Anyway, off on a tangent. My point was I want her to have still a love of reading, a love of learning. And that is very important to us. Critical thinking skills are very important to us because it's really lacking in our society. So she loves those books from the Critical Thinking Company. Highly recommend them. So critical thinking, communication through writing, speaking, listening. That's an important part of communication. All of the types of communication skills are very important to us. And just being a good person. So as we focus on those things, and I know I'm forgetting a couple, I don't have my book with me. I can share that more when I go through my planner and share that kind of stuff. But long story short, try to think about the kind of person you want your kid to be when they're done with school with you. What skills do you want them to have, regardless of what public school thinks they should know, or whether they'll go to college or not, of course, makes a difference. So in the high school years and even maybe middle school, figuring out what they might want to do with their lives will change the course a little bit, certainly. But college is just not for everyone, and I actually have a lot of opinions on that nowadays. I will never push Peyton to go to college. If she wants to do something with her life where you really truly need a degree, 100% support her on that, and will help her make the best decisions through middle school and high school, and make a transcript and help her find a school and college and university that's best for her and all that sort of thing. I'm not going to push her to go just for the sake of going. Reed and I both went, and I went to law school, so it's something we're very familiar with and are still paying for. But I think it isn't for everyone. It depends on what they want to do with their lives. I need to stop rambling and move on, because I am sweating like a dog in here. My air conditioning is not working properly. So I'm going to go home and get something done. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for joining me for this rambling on video from my car. I hope you have a great day. Bye.